Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. Today we are talking about the Ohio 7th Congressional District for the 2026 election, where the first Democratic candidate has officially joined the race. Democrat Michael Eisner released a statement. I have it here pulled up. This is on his LinkedIn page. He wrote that I am officially a Democratic candidate for the United States Congress in Ohio's 7th Congressional District. After great deliberation, I take on this challenge in an effort to bring common sense and compassion back to D.C. I pledge to listen to all voters, regardless of political ideology or wealth, and work to make the American dream real for real Americans. My motivations for taking on this challenge come from my experience as a lawyer and survivor of cancer. The current administration and incumbent implemented and support economic policies that will make our lives more difficult and stressful, as well as making significant cuts to medical research, science, and access to healthcare, not to mention the disregard for the truth and rule of law. Please support my campaign. Together, we can create change and do great things for the people of the 7th District and our country. So what's interesting about this race is on Ballotpedia, it has the U.S. Representative Max Miller and Michael Eisner listed as two candidates. Eisner does not have too much information to go off of in terms of past history on Ballotpedia. And also it's worth interesting noting as well that the Wikipedia page for this race does not have any update on Michael Eisner in this race. So that might be getting updated soon, but for the purpose of today's video, we're just going to talk about he announced it, he's in the race. Now there is one Democrat currently running in this race. Ohio's 7th District, which stretches from ex-urban Cleveland to rural areas in north-central Ohio, including Medina and Worcester. The incumbent is Republican Max Miller, who was reelected with 51.1% of the vote in 2024, so not a super high number in terms of percent of the vote. That indicates a more competitive election. The incumbent rep, as I mentioned, Max Miller, is eligible to run for re-election. He has not yet said if he will, so we'll have to wait and see how that all goes, but more likely than not, he's probably going to run again. And then if he does not, I'll do a video saying that he did not. Right now, he has currently $416,000 cash on hand. And just to show you this district, the 7th District, it's going to be this one right here, which according to the 2025 Cook Political Voting Index is Republican +5. I'll just pull it in here. This district right here, Ohio 7, as you can see, goes from this part of the state and kind of goes up close and borders the Ohio 11 area, which is where the city of Cleveland is a part of. It's also neighboring Ohio 13, which is a very competitive district that is listed at even on the 2025 Cook PVI. This district is only Republican +5. So by my rankings of 1 to 5 being considered lean, 5 to 15 being likely, this district falls right on the border between being a lean and likely Republican district. So it shows that it should be very competitive. And when you look at the recent election results in this district, I'll pull it up here, in 2024, it showed that Max Miller won by 15% of the vote. And it's worth noting the Democrat only got 36.12%. An independent candidate got, or third-party candidate, excuse me, I should watch what I say there, a third-party candidate, got 12.8% of the vote. Miller got 51.1, Matthew Diemer, the Democrat, got 36.1, and the independent, got 12.8%. So vote splitting there led to a very large margin of victory for Miller of 15 points. Back in 2022, Miller defeated that same Democrat, Diemer, by 10.7% of the vote. So about 5-point larger margin of victory in 2024 than 2022. Before that, the district was drawn much differently. In 2020, before the census that redrew the map, it seems that this district had parts of Ohio 7, of the old Ohio 7, and Ohio 16, and a little bit of Ohio 9. Now this district has been kind of redrawn to have parts of those districts and represent here. So it showed a pretty big win for the Republican Ohio 7 Miller in 2022 and 2024. Before that, Ohio 7 technically was 17.5. 2016 was Ohio 35, and then about a safe 100 win before that. So this district's very interesting. It's hard to compare because this one's been drastically redrawn from 2020 to 2022 and 2024, and there's a possibility of this district getting redrawn again as the Ohio Republicans are seeking to redraw the House map for 2026 in hopes of getting rid of the 3 Democratic close districts, Ohio 9, Ohio 13, and Ohio 1, those being the top Republican targets. Republicans would love to redraw the map and get those seats as well. But for now, this district, which again shows it can be very competitive, and a 10-point win back in 2022, shows what this could be. Now I'm just going to show you the more in-depth results for this. I'm going to pull up the Ohio map here. We're going to go to Ohio 7 with Max Miller for 2024, and I'm just going to set this up also for 2022 as well. Okay, so that's all set up. For 2024, Max Miller, as I mentioned, won 51.1%. Democrat Matthew Demmer got 36.1%. Overall, there was roughly about 400,371 votes in this election in 2024. This district is only made up of 4 counties. The largest by far features part of Cuyahoga County, which encompasses the city of Cleveland. So Cuyahoga County is kind of split almost in half here. A lot of Cuyahoga right here, this region, which is that Democratic district, is here, but parts of Cuyahoga are in this district. And unsurprisingly, one of the most Democratic districts both in the state of Ohio and in the United States voted very, very close. But this part of Cuyahoga County voted for the Republican Max Miller by about 3%. Miller got 44% of the vote, Matthew Demmer got 41%, and then Dennis Kucinich got 15%. I obviously have not looked at the 2022 results yet, but I would bet without the independent in this race, the Democrat likely won this part of Cuyahoga, but we'll have to wait and see. The second largest county in the district is Medina. Medina, 102,347 votes. Again, this is the county that borders this part of Cuyahoga County. And it went for Miller 59% to 31% for Demmer. So a very big Republican win here as well. Third largest is Wayne County, 51,874 votes in 2024. Miller won it 67 to 25. So a very big Republican win here of 42%. Very, very big. The last county, Holmes County, which is a very small population county, I'd imagine a very rural county, only 2,637 votes in 2024. It went for 68% for Miller over the Democrat Demmer. So a very big win there. So it seems the farther you get away from Cleveland, the less Democratic and more Republican the districts get. So that could be very key for the Democrat strategy for 2026 is to focus on these 2 counties, Medina and Cuyahoga, as the 2 strongest vote centers for the Democrats. But it is worth noting, if Cuyahoga is going Republican, there's a very great chance Medina, Wayne, and Holmes are going Republican by a margin large enough to make this race not competitive. If the Democrats are winning Cuyahoga, and Medina County is a lot more competitive, like if Medina County is only going to be, I don't know, roughly a 10 to 12% win, that could be a scenario where it gets more competitive. So that's how it looked in 2024. Let's take a look at 2022, because this could be what 2026 ends up looking like if the Democrats can make this race competitive. And this ended up being Max Miller at 55.4% to Demmer's 44.6%. And again, this is without the third-party candidate in the race, and here you go. Cuyahoga County, which again, in this election, the largest population as well, we got 186,268 votes of the roughly 303,487 votes cast in this election. Demmer got a 1.9% margin of victory in Cuyahoga. This is certainly very good for the Democrat that he won 51-49 in 2026 if the Democrats are really making this district competitive, given how Republican that Medina and Wayne and Holmes is. The Democrats going to have to get the margins in Cuyahoga County much higher if they want to win. Probably around a 10% margin of victory or so in Cuyahoga would make this district more competitive. Demmer only netted about 3,000 votes out of Cuyahoga County, whereas Miller won district-wide. You can see roughly here by, what's that, about 30,000 to 33,000 votes overall. The Democrats only netted 3,000 out of Cuyahoga. The second largest county, Medina, voted Republican plus 25 for Miller. Wayne voted Republican plus 40, and Holmes Republican plus 64. And see, this is what I'm talking about here. The Democrats' math in this district is very tough because Medina, the second largest county in the district, voted for the Republican Miller, netting him 20,000 votes just out of this area alone. 20,000 of his 33,000 or so district win. Whereas Wayne County, the third largest county in this district, netted Miller another 15,000 votes. So 15,000 plus about 20,000, that's roughly 35,000 votes out of these 2 areas. No disrespect to Holmes County, but only about 1,300 votes coming out of Holmes County. Unless the district is super close, the margin of victory for the Republican Miller and Holmes isn't probably going to make the difference in this race. The margins in Wayne and Medina are going to be the largest that Miller gets. So roughly, again, about 20 to 35, about 35,000 net vote lead out of Medina and Wayne County. For the Democrats to have a strong chance at winning this district, they need that Cuyahoga County, which is currently 3,000 votes. Technically, if you want to get technical with the math, it's about 3,600 votes in 2022. The Democrats need that margin of victory to be something more like 35, 36, 37,000 votes to draw out the margin that's going to come out of Medina and Wayne. It's possible the Democrats can win this district without having to do that, without getting up to like 35,000, like if they can get to 28 or 29,000, but then they have to make significant inroads in Medina County and Wayne County, getting these margins, which were about a 20,000 net vote lead, getting it down to 15, and getting Wayne's 15 down to about 12 or 11,000. Their Democrats could try and win that way, but that's going to be a very tough task in this more Republican-friendly district, but it's not impossible if the election environment all swings towards the Democrats' direction. As for this House race, it's currently listed right now as safe for the Republicans on the 270 to win website's consensus 2026 rankings. The Sabado Crystal Ball has the district listed as solid for the Republicans. Cook Politico also has it solid Republicans. Inside Elections has all of them blank as they believe the map is going to be redrawn. Obviously, that's speculation for now. We don't know what the map will be redrawn like if it does, so I can't make any predictions on that standpoint. We'll have to revisit this if that does happen, but it's projected to be one of a safe Republican reliable district in 2026. I think the margin of victory may be under 15% for this district in 2026, so I would have it starting out as likely Republican, not lean Republican. I don't think the Democrats have much of a chance at flipping it, but I think it's going to be under that 15% margin. But this could be an area Democrats, if they have a very large election wave year, may look to target. Just to give you an idea of what I mean by that, 2022 was another midterm election that was supposed to be a very good night for the Republicans. President Biden had poor approval ratings at the time, but Republicans ended up winning the national House vote by about 3%. I wouldn't really call this a wave. I would call this more of like a relatively okay night for the Republicans. Not a great night, not an awful night, kind of like okay, that's a fine night. 2018, however, the Democrats ended up winning the national House vote 53.4 to 44.8, roughly about 8.9%. And the Democrats got up to 235 House seats. This is what I would call a very good Democratic wave. This is a wave election that flips several U.S. House seats where, again, 235 to 200 for the Democrats. In 2016, the Republicans held about 241 seats. So many seats flipped to the Democrats in 2018. That would be a big Democratic wave year. And in this election, the district, which was redrawn here, the 7th was a 17.5% win. The 16th was a 13.5% win, and part of Cuyahoga was 35.6 and Ohio 9 for capture. I would bet that district would be a lot more competitive in 2018 if it's drawn the current way it's drawn now. I bet it would be a lot more competitive on that 2018 election environment. So if the Democrats, who right now in the generic ballot lead by about 3 points over the Republicans, which would be more on par with what 2022 and 2020 were for the overall House population, if the Democrats can get to a 2018 number of about an 8 or 9% generic vote national ballot win on the House, that would be an election where a district like Ohio 7th could potentially get more competitive in Ohio, and we're seeing not just a Democratic takeover of the House majority, but a very large Democratic takeover of the House majority. Will that happen? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see how things develop over the next year and a half or so, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you did. Leave a comment below. Tell me your thoughts on this video about this race and other topics you'd like to see me cover. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in a future video.